Positivity is a must if we want to develop. Nothing grows from a negative mindset. Positive mindset takes discipline. The discipline of waking up in the morning and remind what is the purpose and cultivate it, because this is the gasoline of our energy. And out of this positive approach, we ignite opportunities and we ignite the business.
This is Generation Podcast, conversations around the new generation of global talents and brands. Ciao, I'm your host, Simona Lodoro. With me today, a great friend of mine, Edoardo Noce, as a Pacific Region Sales and Marketing Manager for Fabri 1905.
Ciao, Simona.
From Phuket, right?
Yes, now I'm in Phuket.
I was thinking about how to introduce you, and I thought that the best way to introduce you is that, apart from being one of the very first friends I made in my Shanghai adventure, you are also the most positive person I've ever met in my entire life.
Really?
Yes.
Sounds a very nice compliment. Thank you, Simona.
You're so positive, so energetic.
Simona, it's my privilege, and I really like your project, and I was fascinated by this topic and the podcast that you're making now. I think it's very interesting, and I think it's also a very good fit with my life. So I said, why not?
Yes, indeed, you are, Edoardo. You perfectly fit Generation. You have almost 2 decades of experience in sales and marketing at an international level. Since 2017, we've been handling the Asia Pacific region sales and marketing, business development, trade marketing, and e-commerce for the famous global brand Fabri 1905. Among them, 5 from Shanghai in China, and the last 3 from Phuket in Thailand. But your current company is just the last of a series of international brands you've been working for. Before the current company, you were head of international business development for Rainbow Media, a communication and publishing house. You have been marketing director of the very first Sino-Italian commercial real estate, senior account and part of the funding team of one of the very first Italian Marcom agency in China. And at a very early stage of your career, you have managed large-scale events like the Special Olympics in 2007 and the Shanghai Expo in 2010. Supporting you in this career, your excellent linguistic skills. You speak an incredible Mandarin, English, Spanish, and Italian.
All the journey started in a university called University for Foreigners in Perugia, when they have a course on marketing. And my favorite subject was international marketing. I was attracted by this because I was interested in marketing. I was interested in discovering other cultures. And these kind of attractions led me to bond with the foreigners. And, in the University of Foreigners of Perugia, most of the people are foreigners, not really Italian. And then I get to know Chinese, I get to know Japanese, I get to know Latin Americans and Americans and so on. And that for me was a very, very nice exposure to the world. This exposure gave me a lot of inspirations. And I think it's the time I mature in my mind the idea of going out and see the world. I don't know if life sometimes follow your dreams and the opportunity comes because you're really, really searching for that. But almost by chance, I got an opportunity to go and work for an event agency in Shanghai when I was 24. So I just went and I started my adventure in Shanghai in an event agency. So it was...
Was it a local one or an international one?
The first one was an Italian one, and they sent me to China from Italy. Of course, it was like a one-year project, and after that, I had to find a local one. It was the time of the big boom of China economy. So you can imagine all the international corporations wanting to open in China, and then making events, corporate events, big lunch was like something happened every single week. So I was part of this excitement in 2004, 2005, up to 2013, I think it was like my life. And as you know, because you are in the same industry, we don't sleep much. We work a lot. We had a lot of fun also in working there, but it's quite tough. At a certain point, I had this opportunity to join Fabri And I think that I was very interesting to see the communication and marketing world from the perspective of a brand. So working inside the brand, not just as a consultant outside. And so I decided to join. And this started the longest partnership with a brand that I ever had in my life, because now is, I think, 8 years I work for Fabri, all dedicated on Fabri. And along this journey, I discovered many things that helped me a lot on my career and helped me a lot even to further open my mind, because Fabri allows me then to grow and to be exposed to all over Asia and Oceania. So now I'm in Phuket just as a base, because my job actually is traveling every single week to a different country and have around 15 countries and represent Fabri in all of them, making sure that the brand is duly distributed and duly perceived in a consistent way in all single different countries, which is so exciting for, in my point of view, because it's the quintessence of the international marketing. So I feel very blessed for this kind of opportunity, and I think this journey is making a beautiful sense, and I find in this international presence a very nice opportunity to learn about people actually, and to learn how to bond with the people truly inside, and also to understand myself better, because at the end I can understand myself even better because I see myself from different perspectives.
But let's just go back a little bit, because from university, when you have to deal with the classmates, and then when you have to deal with clients, and I guess that as a sales and marketing person, even tougher, because you have to convince someone from a totally different culture that maybe never used something similar. So how did you approach different cultures, and how do you now develop the markets? Any trick?
It's a big question actually, and I can answer going directly to the core. I think the core of all things that you said is trust. If I have to explain in one word what my job is building trust, relationship among peoples, among partners. We cannot do our job. We need the partners in all different countries, and they have to do the job, because actually we sell to distributors and distributors has to final users. So my real job is to build trust between me and the distributor representative, and between the brand and their distribution structure and marketing channels. How to do it is something that life experience and careers challenges have taught me so far, and is a never-ending process, because people are always different, the market situation are always different, and the challenges might vary all the time. But I am so far lucky enough that this career path gave me in the past challenges that I could cope with, and step by step. So my early challenges was in the purely marketing field. And then the challenges become more about the sell things with the responsibilities on the revenues that before I didn't have. And then these responsibilities grows on the margin, on the profits. But at the end, when I see now at this moment things on perspective, things work when I am able to establish trustful connections with the partners, so that I can raise the phone anytime. I can speak directly with them and connect in a real way, and things can be solved very easily. Opportunities can be unveiled very easily, because when there is trust and when there is a harmony, the synergy can be created. And the synergy means that when brains come together, ideas pop ups and flows. I give you some example. Before I joined, we have cooperation with a very strong distributor in Indonesia, but was not really expressing the best of his potential with our brand. He was doing a terrific job with other brands, because he's a distributor for the world of coffee and gelato, but was expressing the best with other brands, like in the household appliances, very famous brands in Italy as well, but not really with us. After working a year and a half, the relationship developed. And now we are at a level of connections and trust and synergy. We are soon to develop fantastic marketing actions in Indonesia that probably Fabri never did before in any part of the world. So I cannot unveil now because it's still a secret. But we will develop next year concepts that goes behind the pure distribution in B2B, and we will start really from Indonesia, thanks to the development of a partnership that before was quite shallow and now deepened. Now there is trust for the brand. There is the willingness of the distributor to invest much more than what they did in the past and to grow. Fabri is the same brand, is the same core products, but the relationship changed and the opportunities unveiled. And now what we will be able to do in Indonesia will be something probably great. And I can't wait on developing that.
But time is a very crucial factor, because I remember when we were in China, for example, ice cream. I have to say, when I landed to China in 2012, still the local public, the local consumers were not very familiar and keen to consume anything with ice, anything cold. Ice cream was really something almost unknown. Nowadays, everyone wants to have ice cream. They have their own even taste, which is something that maybe we would not choose as a foreigner, as an Italian. The famous durian taste is like the pineapple on the pizza for me. I think that time is a very crucial factor. You somehow opened the market and then it boomed incredibly. And you don't even know what happened, especially in those countries that are very, very fast, like China was at that time. So what about this time factor also in building the trust? Because you need time to build the trust with the people, and not every company, honestly, gives you the time to develop a certain relationship.
You're completely right. I think it's part of an alchemy. I'm lucky to work for Fabri also because Fabri is a family company. And the approach on business of a family company and the approach on business of a fund is completely different. That's why some of my competitors, they have a total different approach on the market because they are pushed by sales results on the very short term, because they might have a target of selling the company in 6 months, and then they had to capitalize as much as they can. In our case, the company final objective is, yes, of course, is the revenue. And yes, of course, we check carefully the revenue. But there is inside a spirit, which is totally different. And you feel it, honestly. The family. So there is now the fourth and fifth generation of the family are running the business now. And you see that their perspective is the further generation, is the sixth generation. So their perspective is to build a business so that the company can live further on to the upcoming generation. So this kind of approach to the business, quite different from the pure profit approach of funds, is a positive side. Of course, there is a flip side on anything. So there is also some flip sides on family businesses. But I have to say that so far with Fabri, I find a lot of similarities with my approach to markets. And I'm very happy that so far I could establish a deep trust with the owners. They allow me the time necessary. Of course, so far I never abused this kind of, let's say, buffer of time that they allow me. But I want to tell you that based on my observation, when you work with with different markets, there is a time that you sow, so you put the seed, and then there is a time that you harvest. You need to allow this time, and this time is unavoidable. Why? Because you need time to introduce your products and your brands to the distributors. The distributor needs time to fully understand the market opportunities. You need time to train all the people on the culture of gelato in the local markets. And you need on product registration, because when you export products in different countries, you need to go through FDA, product registration, the custom. In some countries is so long. In Japan, for example, it takes 8 months or even more. there is time for the delivery of goods, because then, if to shipping from Italy to Asia, it takes 2 or 3 months, and we face so many challenges sometimes. So
custom clearance.
I noticed that what I start with a lot of love and passion will give the fruits in a time that normally range on 8 months to 10 months or 1 year. For example, what I'm having now is a business results coming from something that I was start to work on maybe 8-10 months ago. Sometimes I have even opportunities that develop faster. But what I want to say is that in different businesses, there is this time factor, and we need to acknowledge that. We need to respect that, because it's proper of every kind of business, and nothing is instantaneously. And sometimes can be frustrated, because when you are in the middle, I face all sort of possible challenges. I face different kind of frustration that can happen and rise among the partners. And at the very beginning of my career, I was sometimes discouraged. Now I start to understand that it's part of the game. There is nothing to worry about. The most important thing is I have to keep myself motivated and convinced that I'm doing good, convinced that I'm helping people, because this kind of motivation gives me the energy of that I can pass to my partners and let them feel that there is a bright future, there is a bright horizon, and we can build something together, and they find a committed partners. Because most of the time, they might think that we just dare to grasp businesses and leave them alone, while once they realize that they have someone that really cares for them, that really wants to grow together, that really wants to let them win, and so that we can win. When they really feel it and they understand we are that kind of partners, trust comes. Even what they think is difficult, or what they think is out of their comfort zone, they're willing to take it. And so it's very beautiful. And I realize it because sometimes, after a period of time, you work with a distributor or a partner, when they start to say that they start to invite more and more in their countries, and then they start to ask your presence more and more. Or they even said, we make business. Yeah, so it's very rewarding. It's very rewarding. And this is a beautiful part of my job. Yeah. There is also another factor, that each different country has a different stage of Fabri. Fabri sells ingredients to make ice cream, gelato, and syrups for making flavored coffee and cocktails. But the ingredients of gelato can be used also for bakery and pastry. And the hero products of Fabri, Amarena Sour Cherry, can be used in so many different kind of concoctions, from egg tarts to donuts to muffins to the Italian pastry to forest cake to tiramisu. When we cooperate with a good chef locally, we unveil the opportunities on the recipes, what we call it applications, so that the same ingredients can be used in applications that are suitable for the market at the moment. But it's critical to understand it, because if I approach a market with the same recipe or the same idea of Italy, probably wouldn't work. And the only way to make it is to cooperate with a local chef and local managers, because they understand the local market needs, and they understand in which phase we are. Of course, our mission is to bring the artisanal gelato everywhere. This is core of Fabri products. But how to develop gelato in markets where the gelato is undeveloped? We need to be patient, and we need to cultivate the culture there. And looking for entrepreneurs, they are looking for new things. Gelato always follows the trend of coffee, most of the time. Gelato is perceived by entrepreneurs at this stage as a possible opportunity of business. And when we are able to convince them to explore this opportunity, we find open doors. And we are very happy to partner with those people. Of course, my job is to find those entrepreneurs, these partners, they are believing in this business opportunity, because that's the moment that the synergy comes. Now I start to also to mature this ability to understand the real motivation of distributors, because I'm facing so many in different countries, then I realize immediately if they are convinced and they are searching for a brand like you, or they are in a phase that they want to explore something new, but they don't know what to do. Of course, it's much better for us when we already found an entrepreneur that is looking for expand on gelato. They already have this idea because maybe they went to Italy, they already perceived the opportunity in the gelato in their local country, And then, of course, they know already that they are motivated to do that. It's much more difficult in countries where maybe the gelato is undeveloped, we are not present, and it's difficult to find a distributor, and you need to convince a new one from scratch. Yes, it takes longer time and it takes more efforts, but it's part of the job. It's not always that we have easy job with distributors that they have clear ideas. It's part of our job also to support distributors in their specific phase of their specific business development, which reflects also the situation of the local market. We never give up on gelato, even in the countries where the gelato is undeveloped. We focus on that. We conduct master classes, with demonstrations, also events, because we believe that sooner or later the wave will come. As we did, for example, in China, because as you mentioned before, Fabri was the first brand that bring gelato to China more than 20 years ago. When we entered, nobody knows gelato. At the same time, nobody knows coffee at that time. And we were the first to convince, for example, one of the major exhibition organizer to start a big gelato competition. It was the very pioneeristic time of the history where really Fabri helped the whole industry of gelato to come out. And now China, there are many producers of gelato that before was not even imagining on entering on gelato. So you see this developing happening. In China started 20 years ago. In other countries started now. Last week I was in the Philippines, in Manila. And I have to tell you that Manila, the artisanal Italian gelato is something that is still very niche. But we see this interest on the gelato more and more. And we are very excited. Markets sometimes have a lot of commonalities. They face all different challenges. Japan, for us, is very challenging, for example, because they appreciate gelato, but the way of making business in their perspective is challenging on a cultural level, for example. They are extremely detail-oriented, and sometimes it's difficult to bond and create that trust for cultural differences. That's why we need to search for local Japanese people that are half Japanese, half Italian to support us, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to make it. Some other markets might be easier, I would say. Like, for example, in my own experience, Malaysia, Thailand was quite easier on a cultural level.
Actually, I think with your global experience, your mindset toward different cultures, the job comes a little bit easier because you understand that it's not just a matter of buying a product, but it's really understanding the culture and somehow, create or facilitate the switch or contribute to now open a little bit the country, maybe leveraging young people because they tend to experiment more. Your global talent is very useful for the brand and is expansion all over the region. Do you have a mentor, someone who really influenced you in?
Yes, I do have, and it's actually very important for me. We cannot learn by ourselves. We always learn from other people, and we need to carefully select the people we want to learn from. In different times of my development, I had different mentors. Sometimes I was lucky enough to have these mentors in the company, as I am having now. Sometimes I had mentors in other companies, but I can give you some names. For example, I was very lucky to work with Enrico Montangero, which was my first mentor. Enrico Montangero opened one of the first Italian agencies in China many, many years ago. But he was the president of the Association of Communication Agents in Italy. And this gave me an opportunity of understanding the agency work and the marketing communication in a very nice perspective. And he treated me so well, allowing me to make mistakes, clever mistakes, and allowing me to grow and improve myself, not only from the skill side, but also on the leadership side. Because, as you know, in China, we have been lucky enough to be leaders very fast, right? And to take responsibilities very fast. So that was a big deal for me, a big opportunity for me. I had another mentor that he doesn't know he's my mentor. He's called Tom Doktorow. I saw him a couple of times. He's a star. But I have read all these books, and he used to be the CEO of JWT in China, one of the agencies that I used to admire most. I was able to witness the events and what they do for the brands. And he was so prolific in writing books about our job that I was like reading them all very fast. He doesn't know me, of course. And I shook his hand a couple of times. And he influenced me, of course. And he was a living example that I could see online, on the videos, and I could read his books, and I could see him sometimes in the big events in Shanghai. I'm lucky now to work, for example, in my company where I have mentors. I work very closely with our CEO of Fabri Asia, which is Nicola Fabri, which is a man of a profound experience in international markets. He really is the guy that opened Asia many years ago. And the way he approaches the market and the way he built the relationship with the distributor was affecting me deeply when I started to travel around. He came with me. When he gave me the opportunity to have this position, he came here several times. He traveled with me. And I was influenced observing how he was dealing with different cultures, because he was in Asia much, much earlier than me, and he showed me many things I learned from him. I'm very grateful for that. The other one, for example, is my general manager, Michele Maggi, which is a totally different approach from my CEO. His approach is much more pragmatic, number-oriented, something that before I didn't have. At the beginning, he gave me a lot of challenges because I have to learn how to check the revenues and the margins. I find it very exciting to learn some skills that normally come from people that have a financial background or have an economic background. Wow. So now I was able to grow also on that side. And it's actually a very important competencies. I would recommend people that start our kind of career to grow as much as possible at the very beginning. I was not before aware of the importance of finance, on the importance of analyzing the sales results, on the way we have to analyze the sales results. We have to learn and discover as fast as possible because it's crucial. And actually, I would say that it's also rewarding in terms of salary, in terms of our own rewards, because as fast as we learn about the financial dynamics of the company, of the relationship with the business and our relationship with the sales, as much as we can be rewarded as well, because we see the business also the number perspective, not only from the purely culture perspective, which is very, very important, but of course we work for private companies. So there is also this important aspect that has to be learned as fast as possible.
I told you that you are the most positive person I've ever met.
Thank you.
When you talk, everything is so inspiring, so, motivating. If I had a couple of decades less, I would prepare my luggage and go somewhere, Asia Pacific, study maybe a little bit more about finance and, your suggestions, because this is you,
I think positivity is a must if we want to develop. Those mentors that we mentioned before, they're all positive. I never had a mentor which is negative or pessimistic. Nothing grows really with a purpose from a negative mindset. And a positive mindset is something that takes discipline. Discipline of waking up in the morning and remind what is the purpose and cultivate it, because this is the gasoline of our energy. And out of this kind of positive approach, we ignite opportunities and we ignite the business. It's not the business that has to motivate us. So when the business is good, we feel good. It's different. It's us that we have to motivate the business. And so this propellant is crucial. It's not sometimes easy. It's a discipline. And part of my quest, search, personal journey is on that, is on finding this positivity, which is aligned on the deep sense of purpose of what I'm doing. We need to see the things in perspective. I travel a lot and might put some other aspects of our life, which could be the family, the relationship with kids, and on the search for stability in a place. Sometimes it could be challenged. I travel more than 50% of my time. Sometimes I wake up, I need to remind myself in which country I am. I could stay 1 month outside, going from one continent to another. So it's challenging. And at the beginning, sometimes we could feel like, oh my God, I'm doing the right things. Or yes, this kind of moments happens. And I think it's quite organic. I think that it's important not to be discouraged when the challenging come or the discouragement come. And it's important to see the things in perspective. And see things in perspective means to have an helicopter view on your life, to see that things happen, mostly the challenges, they are not permanent. They always comes to give you a lesson and then they go, as also the very positive moments. There are some moments that are magical. And I'm lucky enough to experience many of them, some of them. But they are all momentarily and they go. And then we need to search the next one. And we need to have this perspective on life, like an helicopter view. We need not to be discouraged when the challenge came, because they come for a reason and they come to give a lesson that most of the time, if we take it in the right way, make us stronger. At the end, I think the beautiful path is to have this deep sense of growing, deep sense of become a better self. And the beauty is to find this one in harmony with what we do on a daily basis, on the job, on the connection of the people, on the business challenges, and it's very beautiful because then the job is not anymore called jobs, but it's part of life. It's really life, right? So it's not that we have to work, but we create. I wouldn't say I go to work today. I go to create something which really belongs to my quest on purpose, my quest on a better life, on self-improvement, and so on. So, this comes from discipline. And I think it's important to have routines. What you do in the early morning is very important. It changes the whole day. What you do before sleep is also very important because it changes the way you sleep, and the sleep is essential. Especially when we travel a lot. So it's not for granted that we are positive. We have to cultivate it, but it is essential because out of pessimism, nothing can grow.
Wow. Okay. Let's do now a couple of games. The first one, let's suppose we start a masterclass on how to become a global talent and manage a global brand. As a professor, what would you like to teach as a subject, and how would you evaluate the students?
There is a very fascinating question. In ideal scenarios, I will ask this candidate to explain the product of a strong brand, assuming Fabri. So I would give Amarena, which is our hero product, in the hand of this candidate. And then I will put him in front of a Malaysian and Thai, a Japanese. And then I will say, now you try to explain and you try to convince to have this product for. Before I would give the opportunities, of course, of understanding a bit better what is the bakery environment in these countries. And I would try to observe the passion of this candidate on doing that, because I noticed that there is an attraction on being international. You see immediately on the excitement of the young people when they face different cultures and different kind of people. So I wouldn't then notice much if, of course, they win the pitch or they can sell. I will try to notice their eyes and their excitement when they face this cultural challenge, because they need to explain something that is not proper of any culinary traditions in Asia, but they have to connect with them, and they have to try their best to convey this message with a purpose, with a reason, with a selling point. And if I might choose then the right candidate, I would choose not for the one that probably had the most clever. Yes, I will notice the clever approaches, but I will also check carefully the excitement of their eyes. And I would definitely appreciate a lot this excitement, because it's that one that is what I mentioned before, is the positive attitude that it propels people to grow, learn, and develop and solve the problems. And I would go for that. So especially on young people, I would search more for passion and positive attitude. In our job, which is marketing and commercial side, especially for young people, everything that we do can be learned in a few years, 1 year, 2 years. It's not rocket science, but the approach, the attitude, and the passion is something that it takes a life. It takes the attitude of a person. So I would answer you that I will look at their eyes and try to look at the bright light that I might see in their eyes and choose for those ones.
So can we say that Edoardo Noce could be the professor for engagement creativity?
I would love so, yeah. I think I'm still a student. I have to learn a lot of things. But honestly, yeah, probably if I know I can help young people, I would be very glad to do that.
Of course you can. Hopefully many young people will listen to Glow Narration and to this episode, and they will learn for sure something very, very useful in their future career. Another game, I would define a few areas or life skills, and you need to answer global or local. And if it's local, you can also specify which local, so which region, like Italian or Chinese or any other. So food.
I'm global, but I must have Italian food at least a couple of times a week.
Study or education.
Global, absolutely.
Sport.
Global.
Creativity.
Local. I'm very Italian.
Family.
Local. I'm very Italian.
No, you're not. You're not.
Yes,
Anyway.
the families and how a family should run. I always think about my mom and my dad, so I'm very local.
Your appearance? Do you think it's
local.
global or local?
No, they always tell me that I look so Italian.
Do you? Oh my. Design.
Sorry? Design? Local. Italian, yeah.
Movies?
Global.
Music?
Mostly local. Yeah.
Now some life skills. Time management.
It's global, absolutely. Sometimes
The time differences, right?
Yeah, not all.
Problem solving.
Global.
Empathy.
Global.
Emotional intelligence.
Global.
Leadership style.
Global.
Strategic thinking.
Global.
And the very last one, team management.
Team management is global, but I realized sometimes that I was very local and I wanted to improve and become global. So I think I'm always on a path of improvement on leadership.
Thank you so much, Edoardo. It's been a great pleasure having you here and listen to your story, all your passionate experiences. Thank you so much.
Thanks to you, Simona. It has been a great pleasure and honor to be part of your program. And I loved this interview a lot, and I loved this process and all the questions. I hope might have inspired or I might have helped someone that is listening and has to decide the career path. And I encourage everybody that has this drive for going abroad and being international of listening to your podcast as much as they can and prepare the luggage and go.
Yes, guys, have you heard the suggestions? Prepare the luggage and be ready to leave for an incredible global career. And wherever you go, bring Glow Narration with you. Follow us on your favorite podcast platform, on social media, spread the voice to all your friends, share. And before next episode in 2 weeks, have a look to our website, glownarration.com, to know more about our guests and episodes. Ciao, see you in 2 weeks.